Good morning everyone. Tara kapwa Pilipino, magbasa tayo ng ating sariling history. History of the Filipino people by Agoncillo and Guerrero. Today is 13 March 2023. History of the Filipino people, Part 6. The Third Republic, topic number 25, the HUKBALAHAP movement. Nandito na tayo sa paragraph. The Surrender of Taruc. Basa. The surrender of Taruc with the election of Ramon Magsaysay to the presidency in 1953, the Huk Movement lost its glamour. President Magsaysay, an avowed lover of the little people, tore the various caged children and old women, and heartily pumped the hands of the peasants. He continued his policy of attraction, at the same time resorting to the mild-faced policy in an attempt to break completely the Huk Movement. Early in 1954, President Magsaysay secretly appointed Benigno S. Aquino Jr. of the Daily Mirror, his personal emissary to Taruc. After 4 months of negotiations, Taruc on May 17, 1954, surrendered to the government. With the security guards, he was whisked to Manila, where he announced that he unswervingly recognized the authority of President Magsaysay and sovereignty of the Republic of the Philippines. Taruc was brought to court and sentenced to serve 12 years in prison. Taruc's unconditional surrender further demoralized the Huk Movement. Many of his men surrendered or were captured. Only Dr. Jesus Leva, now the chief of the Communist Party of the Philippines and supreme commander of what remained of the Huk squadrons, continued to defy the government. Peace and order now reigned in Central Luzon and other areas where formerly the Huks ruled with an iron discipline. In May 1964, Jesus Lava was captured in a house on Leoncio Street, Manila. The Huk movement lost its brains, and what remained were stragglers. Significance of the Huk Movement. The Huk Movement is not an isolated armed uprising against duly constituted authority, having its roots in the encomienda system, which was characterized by greed, brutality, and corruption. The Huk mass movement is the culmination of centuries of peasant degradation, loss of self-respect, and abject poverty. What surprises a student of history or sociology is that the Huk movement did not occur earlier, say in the 19th century, when conditions were so degrading and corruption and greed so rampant that it is a source of extreme wonder why the peasants did not think of uniting as one. This is probably because the intellectuals who could have led the movement were indifferent to the plight of the masses and interested themselves only in the affairs of their own class. With the coming of the Americans, however, political consciousness penetrated the rank and file, leading in the final instance to the rise of the poor but educated class who led the masses in the struggle for rice and fish. Given adequate leadership, the masses began to think and feel, and the resulting thinking and feeling led to militancy. At this point, an alien ideology, communism, filtered through the charged atmosphere and won over a segment of the masses whose desperation led them to accept that which promised them heaven on earth. The masses were like drowning men who would clutch at the straw to save themselves. And the Huk and other agrarian movements, the government is as much to blame as the naive masses. Through the latter had been impatient, but this is so because they had waited for centuries for their redemption and received nothing but solid blows from the caciques who were close to the government. When the ordinarily supine, docile, and law-abiding peasants finally found the voice to utter their misery, their sufferings, and the injustices done to them by the powerful, the government through almost 400 years, failed or simply refused to heed that lonely voice and instead used force. to maintain the social and economic status quo. The peasants, the most abused and exploited class in Filipino society, may go down in defeat after defeat, but as long as the government remains deaf to their pleas and remonstrances, as long as conditions remain the same as during the Spanish times, just so long will there be agrarian unrest. When well-to-do and cultured men like Pedro Abad Santos and the Lago brothers, Vicente, Jose, and Jesus, who had everything to lose and nothing to gain, cast their present and their future with peasants, there must be something wrong with the social structure and more particularly with the government. It is not enough for the government to look into the case history of the peasant leaders. More important and proper is for the government to conduct a self-examination, a self-analysis. Only then can it succeed in opening both eyes and see things in a different perspective, at the same time saying contritely, "Mi culpa, mi culpa." No doubt the reactionaries will protest loudly and make fantastically wild accusations No doubt the reactionaries will protest loudly and make fantastically wild accusations here and there. But the stability of society, the government must know, does not depend on them but on the masses, the real people. The Huk Movement is both a lesson and a fair warning to the government. It can forestall the resurgence of dissidents only if it initiates genuine reforms in the Philippine system, which has remained feudalistic to this day, in order to establish permanent peace and order in the country. The lesson must be learned and taken to heart if another Huk movement is to be averted. Lincoln said during one of the most critical periods of American history that the nation could not remain half slave and half free. The Philippines no less cannot forever remain 9/10 serf and 1/10 landlord. Bukas na itong guys, topic number 26. So, March 14, happy birthday Daryl anak, advance 2023. Bukas na itong topic number 26, the recognition of the tao. Bye everyone, God bless.